everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shreya and I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and follow me along with my little hearing journey. I also make book videos, and today I thought that I would make a video talking about all the things that scare me because of my disability. There's a lot of things that I do in everyday life that cause me anxiety that probably wouldn't to a person that doesn't have a disability, because it's so quote-unquote normal that like people wouldn't think that it would cause a problem or just be an issue for somebody that has a disability. So I'm here to maybe talk about it, relate with some of you guys who maybe feel the same thing, and if you like this video I can make several more because I'm sure I have several other things on my list that terrify me. And I have been dealing with all of these things since I got hearing aids when I was around 5 years old, so it's been a long time, but these things still give me a little burst of anxiety every single time I'm about to do one of these things, and I thought I would talk about them and then talk about how I deal with it. So first and foremost, the one thing when people ask me like, oh my gosh, what's hard for you to do because of your hearing loss, is phone calls. I have a job right now where I do answer the phone from time to time, and every single time that phone rings I get anxiety that I'm not going to be able to understand what's going on, because there's several factors to a phone call. It's the person's voice, it is the volume, sometimes there can be static, sometimes the person can be mumbling. Like guys, I sometimes don't even understand my own sister when she calls me, and she's older than me. I literally talk to her every single day of my life, and sometimes I still don't even understand her on the phone, and it's just something that I'm always going to be having to deal with. Before hearing aids were Bluetooth, I always had like such a hard time and I never really enjoyed phone calls, but the Bluetooth aspect had really helped me a lot to be comfortable and confident having a phone call. And I would say that I am more confident in phone calls now just because of my jobs, and so I have had to adapt a lot of the time to phone calls and use context clues, and I would say that it takes a lot more brain power for me than somebody that doesn't have hearing loss. I would say 99% of the time don't understand every single word that's coming through on a phone call, so I'm gonna have to take context clues, and it's just been through years and years of having conversations and just going about everyday life where I have developed this skill, so I am confident in it now. But phone calls are always something where I'm always like, oh my gosh, like am I gonna be able to understand it, because it's hard. It's really hard. Another thing about these things is that they're so common in people's mind, even if they know that it is really anxiety inducing and that you have to go through a lot and do a lot in your brain for every single phone call. If they see you do it well a couple of times, they're probably not gonna recognize that, because when you see someone doing something so well, you're not gonna think that they have an issue with it. But in reality, I like have to try super hard. It's a lot of brain power every single time I answer the phone, and so that's the first thing that really terrifies me, especially since I do it every single day. Okay, the next one, and I have several videos on my hearing loss playlist, you can go check that out, I'll link it down below, is classes. Classes I have been dealing with literally all of my life. I am graduating for what I think will be the final time with my master's in a couple of weeks, and classes have been something that terrifies me because there has been a lot riding on my grades and my performances in classes ever since I was a child, leading up to grade 12. It was your grades matter because of college. Then I really wanted to do well in college, get in my master's program, and now it's just so ingrained in me that I have to do well. There is so much in classes that rely on your ability to hear and really take in the content that you are listening to, and so I have had to do a lot with classes because every single class you're in a different environment, different seating arrangement, with a different teacher, with a different voice, with a different way that they teach your class, and so it can be really overwhelming. Like I said, I have a ton of videos on my channel dealing with classes and how to do that aspect. I have been very fortunate to do so well in my classes, but it had been a really hard process for me, and I still cry about it sometimes because there's still things that happen even now when I'm towards the end of my academic career getting a master's degree. There's still things that happen that like put me back to when I was first growing up and dealing with this, and that still make me feel like small, I guess, in a way. And so classes is definitely always something that spikes my anxiety a little bit because of my hearing loss, and I think a lot of people had different things with themselves, different disabilities, that also make classes hard for them. And yeah, it had definitely taught me a lot and had caused a lot of character growth for me, so I'm grateful for it. But classes is always one that always brings up my hearing loss. Okay, the next thing, this is kind of simple, but drive-thrus. I never want to be the person ordering at a drive-thru or in the driver's seat when I'm at a drive-thru, because first of all, it can be so hard to hear the other person on the line when you can't see them and you can't read their lips. And also, it's like very staticky because it's like through that little intercom thing. So I hate ordering at drive-thrus, and even when I am, I usually have my friend or a family member in the passenger seat next to me, like literally telling me what they're saying. That's how bad it is. So I like don't really go to drive-thrus unless I can order on my phone beforehand, or unless it's Starbucks. I feel pretty comfortable ordering at Starbucks because I go there a lot and it's just coffee and I kind of know the language and what they ask at Starbucks. I'm confident that I can get through any drive-thru experience just because I've had a lot of horrible experiences, a lot of learning experiences. But drive-thrus, I'm like, I don't want to go unless somebody is like sitting in that passenger seat. And also going along with that, ordering food somewhere that's not like a restaurant. Like, yes, that can be hard, but I'm talking about like Subway. Okay, one time, I've talked about this on my channel before, but I went to Subway and they asked me what kind of bread I wanted, which is literally like a basic question. I just didn't like think about it. I haven't been to Subway a lot, and I literally had no idea what they were saying. They repeated it like 10 times and I had no idea what they were saying. I was like, you choose. Yeah, of course they looked at me like I was crazy and they didn't want to deal with me, but like I literally, oh my god, it was so simple. Like every single time I go to like Chipotle or something, it like makes my heart go pitter patter because I'm like, oh my god, what if I have that like Subway moment again? But yeah, ordering food, super basic. Like people are excited to go get their Chipotle, but to me, I'm like, oh my god, I hope that I'm able to like get through ordering my bowl. Okay, the next one is having conversations with people that I don't know. Again, it's a voice recognition thing. If I know somebody's voice and the inflections in their voice, I don't know if that's the right word, then it's easy for me to have a conversation with them because I kind of know like their voice and the context clues with that. But if I don't know somebody's voice and I don't know how they speak, it can be really hard for me, especially if they have a voice not super deep and within my range of hearing. And to this, I would say keep on having conversations with people that you don't know, with voices that you don't know, because that is just going to help broaden your range and your experiences and your context clues. And yeah, I always try to push myself to have conversations with people that I don't know. A, because I'm an extrovert and I love talking to people, but B, because I know it's really tough for me and I want to continue to challenge myself in that way, and it can be really frustrating. And yes, tears have been shed on my behalf because having conversations with people you don't know is terrifying, especially when you don't understand their voice. The only way that you can get through it is by going through it and having conversations with people you don't know. And yeah, it can be really frustrating, especially if you really don't understand them, but just tell them, hey, I have a hearing loss, can you look at me, can you be louder? For example, I have a hard time even with my hearing aids on, but when I have my hearing aids off, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that with anyone unless you're my best friend or like my family members. But I get my hair done once a year, and I love my hairdresser. She is the most amazing person ever, and I feel so comfortable taking my hearing aids off and having a conversation with her without my hearing aids. For example, yesterday when my hair was dying, she literally sat in the chair next to me and like leaned in and was loud and looked at me, and it was amazing. When you know somebody and they know you and what works for you, it can be amazing, and you can almost feel like, hey, like maybe it's not that bad. But when you have conversations with people you don't know, it really forces you to advocate for yourself. So I have to tell myself this all the time when I'm like, ugh, maybe I shouldn't. But I would say the best way to get through this is to just go ahead and do it. Okay, the next one, I put jobs in general. I had a job that really pushed me as far as my hearing loss goes. They weren't really the best with accommodating for me, but I have a reason why I didn't really push too hard, and maybe I shouldn't have done that and handled it the way that I did. But with jobs, I can make a whole video about this, but the best way is to just stand up for your rights and know the law and know what you deserve. And it can be really easy to like kind of be in the background and try to fit in, but you're trying to stand out in a good way. And to do that, you have to stand up for yourself and be confident about it. So I can make a whole video about that. But yeah, jobs in general, especially like since I'm younger and entering my career, it's just difficult because sometimes I think, oh my gosh, like if I didn't have a hearing loss, like how unstoppable would I be? But you really have to stand up for yourself. Okay, the next thing is public interactions. Like let's say I'm on the subway or taking a walk and somebody says something to you in public. Usually it's like a one-time thing and you're not gonna stop and have a conversation with a stranger. But a lot of times I don't know what they say, and so I'm always like, ha, or like thank you, even though I don't know. They can tell me they think I look ugly today and I would be like thank you, because that's like something that feels right to say in a public interaction when you don't know what's going on. And I honestly like don't really know how I would handle this, because like sometimes when I'm talking about public interactions, I'm talking like I'm walking down the street and someone's like screaming something to me and it's like a one-off thing. That always gives me a little bit of anxiety, but I would just say be open to it, have positive body language. I always tell myself that it doesn't matter if I don't hear every single thing that somebody said to me, because if it really was important, somebody would make sure that you understood what was going on. So don't get too down on yourself when you don't understand every little thing, because even someone with perfect hearing doesn't understand every little thing. So I would just say like when it's like a little one-off interaction, just stay calm and just know that everything is gonna be okay. And if somebody really wanted you to know what was going on, they would let you know. And along with that same train of thought is like partying, clubbing, going to the bar. Like I am still gonna do that with my friends if they want to go. I'm never really the first one to go out, just because it's just not my thing. And I think that has to do because of my hearing loss, but it's okay. Like I'm okay with it. I would rather like just have a quiet night, like face to face. Also, I used to be like, oh my gosh, I'm like never gonna meet a guy and I'm never gonna meet like my future husband, but like do I want them to be at the club at 2 a.m? No, I don't think I do, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'm just saying that you have to know what works best for you and just be confident in that. And so yeah, partying, clubbing, like I'm going out tonight with my friend and I'm gonna make sure that I look fantastic and amazing, but it's okay if I don't understand every single thing that somebody says to me, because I have my friends to translate. And also like I just don't care. Like I don't care, and I think that comes from a place where I used to care so much and I used to be super upset about it. But I just feel like I've grown and matured, and that comes with age too and time. And if I really want to hear what someone says, I'll literally just be like, I wear hearing aids, or I'm deaf, or something like that, and we'll go to like a quieter place or something like that, or they'll type it up on their phone. But I just think that that is something that I struggled with a long time. It still does like spark a little bit of anxiety in me, but really not nearly as much as it used to, especially the beginning stages of college. Dating in general, it's a whole thing. I sometimes go back and forth on letting the person know on the first date if I wear hearing aids. It kind of depends. Like if I'm not really into it, then I'll just not tell them and then it'll be a funny story. Or if I am into them, I'll tell them. It just kind of goes back and forth. I know a lot of people with hearing loss are really anxious about the prospect of like dating and being together with someone new and not wanting to tell them about their hearing loss and going back and forth. I think you should just tell them. If somebody is into you, they will like do all the things. They will find a quieter corner, they will look at you, they will speak louder, like they will do all the things. And if they don't really care, like you'll know. I honestly think that it weeds people out faster, but again, it kind of goes along with the whole conversations with strangers thing. And yeah, it's always something that like sparks a little bit of anxiety, especially like when you're really into the person and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna think I'm weird, like like all of this stuff. And it's just a very normal reaction. Okay, and then the last thing on my list is hearing tests. Duh, because I don't know why I'm always like, oh my god, this is like a real test and I need to do really well, or I'm a failure if I don't do well on my hearing test. But in reality, I always have to tell myself, like, hey, like, don't just click the button, like, actually click it if you hear something. Because audiologists are here to help you and get you the tools that you need to be able to hear better, to be able to function better in society. And so I honestly think that my anxiety and my nerves with hearing tests are something that I really have to work on, like, even still in this period of my life, because if my hearing does go down, it's not because of anything that I did. I didn't fail a test. They're there to help me, and so I think that I really need to work on that, because still when I get a hearing test done and my hearing went down, I'm always like, oh my god, I'm a failure, like I should have done better, like I should have known what the word was that she said to me. But in reality, that's ridiculous. So if you're nervous about your hearing test, like, just go through it with an honest mind and don't try to cheat, because you need to get what you need to function the best in this world and to help you the most and just have a better quality of life. Alright everybody, that is it for this video. Let me know if you enjoyed it, if you want me to make some more videos on specific things that I talked about to go more into depth, or you just want to hear about more things that like freak me out and give me anxiety because of my hearing loss. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!